Today we'll be talking about Omi and a Hellcat and why I think he should be free. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We're really trying to hit 1,000 subscribers. I'm Rugburn.
And I'm Pickled Landon.
And this is Tombstone Tourist. So today we'll be talking about Omi and a Hellcat. Really just natural hustler. He's managed to make buku dollars, like crazy amounts of money off, I'm going to take his word for it, a legal gray area.
A legal gray area.
Yeah, where he's essentially selling these fire sticks. They'll have a program, an app on them, right? And it goes to these pirating websites and it'll scrape the data or the link off of it to where people can stream TV shows, movies, etc. And I'm guessing it kind of has preloaded packages they could pick and choose. They cost roughly $15 a month for his service. And at one point, he had enough people to where he was making $1.5 million a month, estimated.
I see where you're coming from with it, because it's kind of like the argument about VCRs. You can buy a VCR, but it's illegal to record anything off it, like the Super Bowl. That's a legal gray area because you're using that footage in your own home. He was doing essentially recording the Super Bowl, copying the tapes, and then distributing it to thousands of people at a price.
His argument is the Fire Sticks never had anything downloaded on them as far as the videos themselves. They were coming from the pirating websites, which his argument is, so it's the pirating website's fault because they're already hosting it. I'm just kind of guiding the people along to these sites.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, people did kind of side more with him because at the end of the day, he only got 5.5 years out of a potential like 514, you know?
I think it's hilarious too because there's a clip not too long after he got sentenced where he's walking, it looks like a sidewalk or something. And
I just got sentenced today. I feel like the judge was super fair. He heard everyone's testimony about my character, everyone who came to court. The judge ordered me to 66 months in federal prison, which I feel as though it's fair for especially how much money I made. I had to pay 10-point-something million in restitution, which they already have, which will be applied to which they already got the money now. And I got to pay another 5.7 million in restitution to the IRS.
Can you imagine how much money he still has piled up? They definitely didn't take it all. He still has tens of millions. At least I suspect. There's nothing that I could prove to find his exact amount that he has in the bank. But at the same time, that's hard to find for anybody.
He didn't seem super upset.
Hey, I'd be happy too. If I was still roughly 30 million up after all the fees, fines, etc., I'd be like, I'll take my 5.5 years. It's really worth it. I would get locked up for 5.5 years for 30 million all day, every day.
I was going to say, can most people generate $30 million in 5.5 years?
Not even in a lifetime for a lot of people.
If that's your trade, you box yourself up for 5 years, and when you come out, you got 30 million. Not a bad deal.
No,
got commissary the whole time too.
And he might have more than that. His exact net worth isn't necessarily easy to find, at least not an accurate figure.
Because of properties, assets, and things like that.
Yeah, and not only that, I imagine he wouldn't want to be too truthful to that whole situation just because of the means in which he got a lot of
Hey, don't get him in more trouble. You know what I'm saying? We know he was sentenced to 5.5 years. He was ordered to fork over about $30 million in assets in connection to the large-scale piracy scheme is what they called it.
Which included a massive car collection too, which is gorgeous.
Oh my gosh.
All right, so here we got my 2017 Platinum F350. Everything is bronze. This is a 2019 Corvette. Now, this is a 2019 Ram Rebel. There's a 2019 Camaro SS. This is a 2019 Gladiator Rubicon. 2016 Dodge Hellcat. Now, this is my 2019 Lamborghini Urus. This is the 2019 Mercedes GTRS. In the East Coast, I had it first. Now, this is a 2019 Huracan. Oh, no, this is a 2020 Huracan. I'm sorry. Now, this is a 2019 Aventador. Now, this is a 2016 Huracan.
He had to forfeit $6 million in cash and cars. So that's kind of, you know, we don't know how much of that is cash and how much of that is cars. Yeah, like you said, he's still left with whatever he's got left over, 5.5 years. He was looking, as I mentioned earlier, if they had got him on everything that they had tried to charge him with, 514-year sentence.
Which is crazy. And it also explains why he was so grateful for the sentencing when the judge finally did bang that hammer. 5.5 years is not that bad. 514 years, that's enough to make a man just...
And I have a list here of like everything that they were going to try to get him for, because at the end of the day, they got him for, it looks like 5 things: conspiracy, copyright infringement, fraud, money laundering, and tax evasion. All the stuff that it sounds like they could prove on paper. You know, but what they were trying to charge him with was conspiracy to commit copyright infringement, 1 count of violating the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, 1 count of reproduction of a protected work, 19 counts of public performance of a protected work, 4 counts of access device fraud, 6 counts of wire fraud, 3 counts of making false statements to a bank, 19 counts of money laundering, 2 counts of making false statements to law enforcement officers, 2 counts of removal of property to prevent seizure, and 4 counts of tax evasion.
Thank God he did not have a public defender. You know his lawyer was very well paid.
Yeah.
Very well taken care of, and made sure he was well taken care of in return. I do believe the only reason he was targeted was because of how massively successful he was. Had he not been so successful, I don't think he would have been such a target.
I do agree with you on that. I don't really have a devil's advocate to play on that. I even have in my little notes here that in the past, cases like this are usually tried in civil court. But it's only recently with the growth of the internet and just social media in general that they're starting to press on these as criminal charges and give people actual jail times to, I guess, disenfranchise people from doing this, because it does exist in a legal gray area, the way we talked about like the VCR thing. But unlike a VCR, as you mentioned, VCRs hold hard data on them. This didn't have the hard data. This was just an access point.
To links, exactly. Yeah. So I think that was his argument, and I do think his lawyer argued that enough to where he got off on a more lenient sentence. And I want to say it worked out in his favor, but 5.5 years still sucks. But at the same time, he's so up now from content and other business ventures as well. He does shoes as well. Funny enough, Nike is suing him for that. And if that takes enough of a turn of events, then we might cover that in the future. Who knows how much grounds they'll get, because Nike tries to sue everyone.
And they're just so moral, you know.
I mean, yeah.
You know, they just want to play the moral high ground all the time. At the end of the day, I think that they targeted him, like you said, because of his success, because of how well he was doing, maybe a little bit because of his flashiness. You know, he had a very successful YouTube channel. He wasn't afraid to show his cars.
On the YouTube channel, almost everyone for the longest time thought he was a scammer or it was faked or somehow. And I bet it just took enough cops, FBI agents, whoever, to look at it and be like, what the hell? Nah, something's not right here. And then just a little bit of digging and everything like that. It is worth noting, what I think the cops did that was kind of like a piece of shit move, is they told him he had a court date on a certain day. And then they ended up coming into his house to get him in front of his family and kind of going through his stuff a little bit. And I thought that was a little out of pocket for the whole situation.
Absolutely.
There's video of that as well. It wasn't too interesting. It's mostly just a very uncomfortable kind of...
Yeah, and you hear I believe that's his wife or his girlfriend kind of talking the whole time with the police officers. And you just hear the police officers trying to rationalize what they're doing and kind of coming up with bullshit on the spot.
You know, overall, I just kind of... I'm on his side. I really hope he you know, toughs it out, gets out a little early on some good behavior and everything, and manages to keep it pushing in his life. He's clearly just a natural hustler, and no matter what, he's going to see success from this point out. He has enough money to where it'll be hard for him to fail at this point. He can hit legal ventures. Hopefully the whole thing with Nike doesn't hold him up. We'll see how that goes. That might be a story for later, depending on how that develops. If not, you know, we'll probably leave it at that. But is there anything in closing you wanted to say on this one?
Honestly, I hope he gets out a little early too. He's nonviolent. I feel like the city could have focused the resources on a better,
you know, something better for the community. I don't feel like he was hurting anybody. I feel like the money he was making was going into the community.
Yeah, and he paid a lot in restitution too. So I feel, you know, at this point, no harm, no foul.
And he was providing a service at a cheap rate to a lot of people. You know, like governments always just want to like keep people from having a good time, I guess. So that's all I got to say.
It is what it is. Anyways, let us know down in the comments below. What would you like us to cover in the future? What kind of cases are y'all interested in? What do you guys think about Omi and a Hellcat? Do you think he deserved to go to prison, or do you think this was kind of unjust? And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We're really trying to hit that 1,000 subscribers again. We're really trying to get y'all's help. I'm Rugburn.
And I'm Pickled Landon.
And this is Tombstone Tourist.